When I think of Cyberpunk 2077, a certain quote comes to mind. If nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do. This quote is cemented in the concept of absurdism, which to simplify is the concept of finding meaning in a meaningless world, going against the flow, knowing that the odds are always stacked against you, and you'll probably never succeed. That is the essence of my 1200 plus hours of playing Cyberpunk 2077 and its expansion Phantom Liberty. I can honestly say that no game in my 20 plus years of gaming has had such a death grip on me, as the themes resonated with the deepest fibers of my being. A grip that only a handful of other titles have ever been able to come close to, let alone achieve. Because there's just something different about Cyberpunk. The idea of Night City has this allure with all the glitz and glamour the city has to offer. Like, it intrigues me, but it also disgusts me. The more I peeled back the neon-coated facade revealing the seedy underbelly of this futuristic, yet somehow weirdly familiar setting, Night City is unforgiving, uncaring, and yet I can't get enough. I keep coming back to it. What is it about this game, these characters, and this story that makes this game so unforgettable for me? How can a world so horrifying be so beautiful at the same time? At its core, Cyberpunk 2077 is more than just a game. It's a reflection of our own societal fears and aspirations. The themes of transhumanism, corporate greed, and the struggle for identity are more than just plot points. They are a mirror held up to our own world. CD Projekt Red has never been a studio to shy away from the complex discussions regarding society and the world around us. And we as the player are introduced to this concept pretty early on in the game. The world just doesn't care, but you have to go on. There is no alternative. And the way this concept is portrayed through the gameplay and the storytelling, both environmental and active, is a fascinating concept and the reason for the title of this video. Because I find Cyberpunk 2077 to be something that goes beyond its medium and transcends to a higher place, more than just being entertaining, to being actually something profound with its message and the story that it provides. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning.
Feel the rhythm of the streets, neon lights and neon dreams, bloody face, they feel no pain when there's so much more to gain. Hunting season, if you will, tell me where'd you rather be? I can hardly see the moon, hope we'll get there pretty soon.
The first thing you notice about Night City is that it's more like a theme park than an actual city where people live. But that's not true. People live here. They have jobs, families, dreams. It pulls you in with believing that anything is possible, and you're one big break away from being at the very top of the world, and all your dreams can come true. That is the first lie Night City tells the player, and we're oblivious to the reality. As one of the few free cities in post-Corpo War America, Night City is in a power struggle between the numerous megacorporations that are fighting for control over the city. It's pretty apparent by the fact that when you enter Corporate Plaza, one of the many key locations in the game, and see the large towers of Arasaka, Militech, and Petrochem to name a few, staring each other down, visually showcasing the rivalrous nature of the corporations. It's a brutal, bloody fight for war, spanning decades of small-scale street battles to full-blown corpo wars. It makes you feel insignificant compared to these giants that only see you as little more than potential collateral damage in their end goal efforts for supremacy and profiteering. The city itself has this way of immersing you within itself to the point that you don't notice the decay, physical or moral, surrounded in every path you take, in every alleyway. It's a familiar feeling for most, as you see homeless and downtrodden sitting on the sides of the road, rampant crime and corruption, contrasted by this beautiful neon jungle, where you'd be forgiving for thinking, at the start of the game that you'll eventually hit the gold mine and be swimming in Eurodollars, and it'll be all sunshine and rainbows. That feeling is very mutual for you and practically every other resident of Night City. But that is not what this game is. Walking through the city is a surreal experience in itself, and so engrossing that I never felt the need to fast travel, and that's a first for me in gaming. Even other games where I was equally, if not slightly less immersed, I might have just gone to a fast travel point to save some time, but it never felt like a necessity here. In fact, it was more enjoyable to ride through the city, take in the sights, and really feel like you're part of the environment. Like, this word has been thrown around so much in gaming by journalists and so on that it's lost all meaning, but I'll say it again. The world of Cyberpunk, Night Cities particularly, feels alive. Like, you see people going about their day, just trying to get to work, just trying to make it through the end of the day, earn a buck, feed their families, and you feel immersed in that atmosphere. Just the action of riding through the city, maybe listening to the radio, feeling like somebody just trying to make it big against all odds, was something that probably took more than 60% of my playtime. Night City is a place of stark contrasts. On one hand, you see the glistening skyscrapers of the rich and powerful, while on the ground level, you see the rundown, the homeless sitting in the streets, looking up at a life they probably will never achieve. From the glitzy high-end boutiques of Westbrook to the abandoned and desolate slums of Pacifica, it's clear that there is a hard line that separates the different classes, and the citizens for most of the game remain oblivious to each other's suffering. And even if they notice it, they just don't care. The diversity of Night City is a fascinating thing. It's a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds. Walking down the streets, you notice it. You can hear it. All different kinds of accents, see different kinds of food stalls, different ethnic foods. Even the graffiti you see on the wall from region to region vary, highlighting how diverse that the city is. And it's amazing that CD Projekt Red put this amount of detail into the city and to just give that extra sense of realism to it. The air is alive with the sounds of sirens, people yelling, traffic, and the low hum of neon, truly making you feel like you're a resident of this futuristic dystopia. And that level of immersion is something I've seen very few games ever achieve. And it's something that I have to give to CD Projekt Red because their sound design department absolutely kicks ass every single time they attempt it. Like, the attention to detail is almost mind-numbingly good. There's so much more I could probably say about the city alone, to the point that I'd probably only be talking about it. It could be a whole separate video. But there's other things as well. I'm hardly the only person who's ever praised this city, and dare I say I probably couldn't do it as much justice as some others. But the city is just a foundation of this experience. And as it should be, a city is nothing without the people living in it. After all, any city is defined by its inhabitants. So who are these people, and how do their lives intertwine with the city's relentless pulse? Every person in Night City has a different story to tell, a dream to chase, or a past to run away from, and they all influence the ever-changing flow of this dystopian world you find yourself in. Starting off with your introduction to your main character, V. The life path you choose dictates maybe the first 30 to 45 minutes of your time in the game, but then every path eventually leads to the same destination. You could call that lazy writing, but I'd argue it's almost like the game is trying to tell you that it doesn't matter where or how you started to get to this point, it all leads eventually to the same thing, which is a little pessimistic, sure, but that's the truth of Night City. The game does a really good job of surrounding you with these deep, detailed characters, each with their own motivations for why they do what they do. Like, take the naive but optimistic Jackie Wells to the cold, calculated netrunner T-Bug, eventually leading you to this myriad of characters slowly introducing themselves and captivating you in a subtle yet profound manner. Like, you feel emotionally invested. They make you care for them, and in some cases, even despise them. You probably have an idea of who we're talking about. They flesh out this dark setting and make you feel this whole smorgasbord of emotions. In my experience, I liked some of them. I laughed at some of their dialogues. I cried at heartbreaking moments. I absolutely fucking hated some characters. I felt their fear. I felt their love. The way your motivations change along the way depends on your interactions with these characters, as you work out the right thing to do, only to realize the nuance and impact of your decision and how it affects not only you, but those around you. Cyberpunk is, after all, a game about decisions. These actions have a sort of butterfly effect, eventually leading you to define your place in Night City, eventually leading you to one of several endings. Each of them, in their own way, tells you that you're looking for a happy ending in the worst possible place. I think Johnny sums this up the best by saying,
"For folks like us, wrong city, wrong people."
V's primary motivation is simple to understand. They want to be the best and be known in a world which couldn't care less about you. Eventually, in your almost Icarus-like attempt to climb the mercenary ladder, you fly too close to the sun, and now suddenly, the goal has changed. It's not just to be the best, it's to fucking live long enough to be the best. At this point, we're introduced to the second major protagonist, the perpetual ghost in the shell, charismatic rocker boy Johnny Silverhand, voiced and acted by the influential and, dare I say, one hell of a human being, Keanu fucking Reeves. Pretty sure that's not his middle name. I found myself caught in this whirlwind of emotions at nearly every point of the story. I never really knew what was the right decision to make, and that left a mark because even long after I had turned off the game for like the 16th or 17th time that I played it, I was never sure about my decisions. I wanted desperately for there to be a good outcome at the end for these characters I'd grown so close to, but most of them ended up being much more worse off than they started. I wanted to make Arasaka pay for all the harm they caused. The game got me invested in it in a way that very few games have ever been able to. I mean, it got to the point where just to know if there was ever going to be a happy outcome for any of the characters, I played through extensively, having a shit ton of save files, recreating different characters, constantly evolving along with my characters. And it showed by the end that I was no better off than when I started. The storytelling, let me tell you about the storytelling. It's profound. It's crazy how good it was written. The level of emotional engagement and intricate character development is what sets 2077 apart, creating an experience that somehow feels uniquely personal. It's a journey that stays with you, making you question not only the choices you made in the game, but also the values you hold in real life. I mean, what would most of us do in a situation like this, where it's a dog-eat-dog, kill-or-be-killed world? This game makes you feel in a world that's just so messed up and deeply uncaring about you. It talks about this scourge of corrupt capitalism that destroys the moral fabric of nearly every single resident of this extremely fucking flawed city. It hurts everyone, not just your character, but those you've grown to love and care for. And that level of immersion, maybe the closest thing I can think of is The Witcher 3, another magnum opus by CD Projekt Red. And even though that game stands to be one of my all-time favorite games of all time, and is probably going to be a topic for a future video, so hit that subscribe button if you're interested. That was so fucking shameless. Even that game fails to capture the same level of immersion as that of Cyberpunk. Maybe it's the fact that real life is really starting to mirror that of the game at an uncomfortable level as technology grows at an unchecked but exponential rate, or maybe that the moral decay of society to push forward the profits of corporations is so fucking prevalent in our modern society. The way this game holds this mirror out and says to us, look, this is you. This could happen to your world, and it is fucking happening to our world. And that just goes to show how much love and attention they put into the game to really make you feel this experience, and it just transcends something beyond its meaning. The art design is more than just eye candy. It serves a purpose, telling a story through every choice of billboard, graffiti, architecture, and in a similar way, so does the soundtrack. The soundtrack, like I've already spoken about this, but let's just emphasize it. The soundtrack is one of the best fucking things about these games. CD Projekt Red always kills it with the soundtrack, but something about the way Cyberpunk uses this music and sound design to emphasize certain story points and make you feel like you're actually going on this journey alongside your character and the side characters is, just, it's insane. It could be anything. You walk into a club and it's pulsating beats of electronic music. You're walking down the streets and there's this melancholic ambience. It just makes you feel there's something wrong, right? And then there's these rebellious anthems of the rock tunes. Like, I fucking love Morrow Rock radio station. Like, I have listened to that way too much. It's even saved up on my Spotify. The only thing that comes close is the new Growl FM maybe, which is also great, apart from, you know, a couple of tracks that are hit or miss, but still, all these elements come together to underscore the emotional weight of this game's narrative. It's more than background noise, it's a fucking character in itself. This video turned out to be more of a love letter to this game, which found me at such an appropriate time in my life and had this profound effect on me. And how it manages to transcend beyond its medium and give me this level of unimaginable immersion and attachment. I have played this game a lot. Like, more times than you'll think is normal, but that's just what it is to me. The gameplay of Cyberpunk is epic in itself, don't get me wrong. But the reason I feel so strongly about it is more about how CD Projekt Red ended up taking a medium designed for entertaining to paint the most poignant, thought-provoking painting of a society caught between humanity and technology. The way we as people have gotten more connected through technology, and yet we're further apart than ever. The way it makes you feel in an otherwise unfeeling world, and even beyond its bleak message of how there's no happy endings in Night City. It's still better to burn out than to just fade away. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took a lot of time and effort to make this. I really wanted this to be special because this game means a lot to me. I hope you liked it, and if you liked, comment, tell me what you liked about the game. If you like the game at all, you know, all opinions are valid. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.